Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett is here from sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial. And we can see it's all about reading progress. But not only, we're going to look at the new features like Reading Coach, Comprehension, and we're going to look at how we can incorporate tools like OpenAI, ChatGPT, or any of your favorite tools that you like, AI tools, to actually save time, further differentiate, and really give a much more personalized experience to the students when they're actually going to be doing reading exercises. So what is Reading Progress? Well, essentially it's one of the learning accelerator tools from Microsoft. It's embedded in Microsoft Teams assignments, which allows us obviously to differentiate by assigning different reading passages to students. But as I said, we're going to use AI tools to further this differentiation and totally eliminate stigmatizing students. And what it would do, once a student has submitted their work, it will quickly analyze and evaluate the submitted reading assignments for you. Now, there is a small percentage of error, but that's absolutely fine because the trend lines and the analysis that you will get will always have that level of error. So you'll be able to easily see progress of students, or if they haven't been progressing, they've actually been going backwards, then you'll be able to see that very, very easily from the actionable insights that you get. Now, if you're going to give something as an assessment, you have the ability to go and correct the findings of the AI tools built into Reading Progress, and you can modify those results. At the end, students will also get the 5 most difficult words that they found as a small practice exercise of their assignment. That's part of Reading Coach. And you will be able to see whether they have practiced those words. And further on that, one of the newest additions in Reading Progress is the comprehension exercises, where you will set up questions for them to answer. And that simply shows they may be reading well, but are they understanding what they're reading? Now, as I said, all of this sounds fantastic. It sounds like it's a lot of work. I promise you, it is negative time. You will be saving much more time than normal. If you've done any reading exercises with your students in the past, you know how time consuming it is to do reading exercises one-on-one with students, and especially if it's assessed work, how long that takes. And if we give them exercises to do at home, some do actually read them, most of them don't, and there's no way of knowing. Well, now there is. So you're now talking about Reading Progress. Let's get started and see how we can set one up and how we can use AI tools to actually improve and build on what's already available to us. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do before you start setting up a Reading Progress assignment is basically to have the passage that you want to give to your students ready. Now, this can be in a PDF format or a Word document format, or you can use a document from the library in Reading Progress. We'll have a look at that in just a second. I've got some PDF and Word documents here, and we can see we can have either PDF. I've got Greek because you could also have different languages as well, which the AI tools will automatically analyze and detect. But I'm going to be using this document here. Now, I've got this in 2 ways, as a Word document, as a PDF as well. It doesn't really make a difference which one you use. I just got these here to show that you can use both. Now, there's a picture in here. Now, what Reading Progress will do when it imports this document as a Reading Progress exercise, it's going to remove any distractions. Distractions like pictures, charts, diagrams, and this, that, the other, because we want the students to focus on the reading, not the images. So I'm going to go now to Teams. This is my training team here. I'm going to go to assignments, and we're going to set up an assignment very, very quickly. The procedure is exactly the same as any other assignment. I'm going to go to Create, New Assignment. I'm going to set up a title. Now I've got my titles and the description here already, so I'm just going to copy paste that in. And it's always good to give a nice description for your students so they know exactly what it is that they have to do. So in this particular exercise, they're going to have 2 attempts, and I'm also telling them to practice the 5 words they're going to see at the end. We'll discuss that in a second, and also to answer the comprehension questions. Again, we're going to discuss how we can set that up very quickly as well. And I also remind them to turn in their work once they have finished. The next thing will be to set up the deadlines, put the close dates. Again, I'm not going to go over the whole Teams assignment. Then it tells you the team which you're assigning Reading Progress to, and it's the team which you've opened assignments in. This one here, teacher training. And this one's very important for differentiating. We're going to choose which students. So if I want to assign this to the whole class, I leave that as is. But if I want to assign this to specific students, then I'm just going to change this. So I'm going to choose individual students and I'm going to assign this particular work to these two students here, student 2 and student number 3. The other two students, I'm going to generate a new assignment which is going to be modified, differentiated just for them. And we're going to see how we can do this so that we can minimize stigmatizing amongst the students. So they're going to get exactly the same document, but we're not going to have to do any work to prepare this. So I'm just going to click on done. And it says here this is assigned to two students. You can give an overall mark if you want as a normal assignment, but we're going to create this as a reading progress. So my next step now is going to be to attach. So from here, instead of using the classic upload from this device, make sure we're going to choose reading progress. This is going to open the reading progress interface, and here we've got the sample library where we've got different texts that we can use to assign to students at different levels. We can go up to year 6 or secondary level, but I'm going to upload my own one. So I'm going to click on cancel and I can import a Word or a PDF. From here, I'm going to go to upload from this device and I'm going to find my Word document, and it's this one here, Impact of Volcanoes on Weather. Click on open. This is going to open my document. We can see that the picture has been removed. So all distractions are removed and I'm only getting the text. The next thing to do is to edit this if you have to edit this. This is actually saying it's 494 words and it's in the dialect English United Kingdom. If you want a different dialect, then we're going to go to edit and we can choose a different dialect from here. So this is really useful. And if this is a different language, you can see we've got different languages here which are supported, many languages, and different dialects as well. So once we're ready, I'm just going to leave it as English United Kingdom. Click on that tick. And that basically ensures that the AI, when it's analyzing the reading of the students, it's taking into consideration the dialect as well. Next, we're going to modify the settings for reading progress. The first one is to set a reading level. Now, you don't have to, but I always suggest you do, because later when we're analyzing the analytics, we can actually filter the assignments based on the level of those reading assignments. And that's really useful. Now, I'm not an English teacher. In fact, I am dyslexic myself. This will be fantastic for me. But so I'm just going to say this is a level 5. The genre here, this is an impact of volcanoes on weather. So I'm going to say this is non-fiction. Again, this is optional. It's always good to add something though. It makes it easier for you later. Number of attempts is important. So I said they're going to have 2 attempts. Now, if this is going to be an assessed piece of work, you may want to put it as 1 attempt only. If this is going to be the first time students are going to do this kind of practice or this type of assignment, reading progress, you might want to give them 3, 4, 5 attempts. The more they practice, the more they learn. So I'm just going to put 2 attempts here. Time limit, I'm going to set the limit. Again, you don't have to. I'm going to put a 2-minute limit. And we're going to get this here as well. Well, as soon as we put the time limit, we get the opt-in time limit cutoff feature. What that would do is this. Let's say a student in those 2 minutes only manages to read up to this point here. It will allow the student to read the rest of the passage, but the analytics of the AI tools built into reading progress will only analyze and give feedback and data and reading accuracy and fluency only on what they read in those first 2 minutes, not on the entire document. So if they read the whole document in 2 minutes, that's fine. So you can choose this or not. That's entirely up to you. And I always say, why don't you practice this yourself and have a look at it and get the feel of reading progress as a student. It's always really good. And I'm going to actually do this as a student in a second. Now, before I go to, well, first we've got Reading Coach. So Reading Coach, basically, if we've got this enabled, it will find or it will identify the 5 most challenging words that the students had, and it will present those words to them to practice at the end of this assignment. And again, you as an educator will see whether they practice those words, which words, and how many times they practice them. Again, a lovely little feature, minimal effort from you. You don't have to identify the words. It does it for you. Before I go to the new feature here, comprehension, I'm just going to talk about require video. I always say yes. And if a student really doesn't want to be recorded, they can put some blue tack or some tape or cover the camera. That's absolutely fine. But I do think it's important for teachers to actually see the students reading, because you can see expressions and you can see how comfortable they are with reading and if they are actually improving with being comfortable in reading or not. So I'm going to leave require video. Now add comprehension. So comprehension basically is going to test whether they've understood what they have read. It's one thing to read fluently and it's another thing to actually understand what you're reading. So normally you would go through the document, find, I don't know, 3, 4 questions, and then you would generate some different answers and do multiple choice or something like that. Or you might do some depth of knowledge questions. That's up to you. That takes time. We're going to do this in seconds. So normally you'd have this from before, but what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to choose my text. I'm going to copy my text and I'm going to open up. Now you can use any tool you want. We've said this before, so I'm just going to use ChatGPT here. But another very common one which is used is Magic School in schools. I'm not affiliated with any of these programs, by the way, but I have used Magic School and that's really fantastic as well. But I think one of the most common ones that people use now is ChatGPT, so we might as well use it. This is kind of like the backbone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I'm going to say I only want 3 multiple choice questions. I always tell educators, if you want 3 questions, ask for 5 and then choose the 3 which you think are best, because usually they're probably one you don't like. So I'm going to say create 5 multi choice questions and answer key for the following text. And I'm just going to paste my text here and press enter. And look at this. Immediately, I've now got 5 multiple choice questions. I'm going to choose 3. I've got my answer key there as well. I know which one's the right one. And now all I have to, took me seconds. How long would it take me to read that passage myself and come up with questions? So the next step is I'm going to go back to my team's assignment and I'm going to click on yes here. And straight away, it's going to open up Microsoft Forms. And now I can create my quiz. I've got the questions already. I'm going to set 5 points for each one. I'm going to choose 3 questions from the ones it's given me. And to save time, I'm going to fast forward this, but I'm going to let you see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just going to drag this over here, have my questions over here. And I'm just going to generate these really quickly. So this is going to be choice. I'm going to get my question. Okay, so I've added my questions. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to go to next. So I've made these multiple choice questions. They're worth 5 marks each. There are 3 questions. I chose the 3 which I wanted, and they have to answer every single one as required. So I'm now going to click on next. Voila, that's it. We're finished. Reading progress assignment has now been set up. I've got reading coach to identify the 5 most difficult words. I've got comprehension questions, which I generated from AI. And I've also got the passage, which is going to be analyzed for me automatically with all the things like mispronunciations, repeated words, missed words, and this, that, and the other within how long? Literally minutes. Literally minutes. It takes a bit longer because I'm doing a video tutorial, but in literally minutes you can have this done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assign this to the students. Now, I promised you on how we can actually differentiate, because this has only been assigned to 2 particular students. I've got 2 other students which have got some reading difficulties. I'm not going to generate a whole one from the beginning, but I'm going to show you how you can very easily and quickly do exactly the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my passage here. So this is the Word document which I used and I imported. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this text, all of that text. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up ChatGPT again, which is here. And I'm going to say the following. Rewrite following passage for a student with lower reading ability. And I'm going to, it actually found the passage which I had at the top. I did want it to actually do this one here. So I might as well just press enter here anyway. There we go. So basically, it's now rewriting that passage for me using easier words for a student with a lower learning ability. And it's always good for you to read this first. Now, if I think this is still a bit long for these students, I can also say shorten to 2 paragraphs, let's say. And this is going to allow me to have a shorter version of the same text, but with easier wording. Now, what this is going to do, I can assign this text now to the other 2 students exactly the same. I will now copy this, paste this in a Word document, save that Word document, create a new assignment like I've just done now, attach this Word document and only assign it to the other 2 students, which have got some reading difficulties. Now, the idea is this: instead of me having to find another passage, they're going to get the same meaning. So it's still about volcanoes and their effect on the weather. So if they are talking amongst the other students, they're still talking about the exact same thing. So nobody knows that they've been given a passage which was actually easier for them. So you've really removed stigmatization entirely. And that's really great. Now, for the comprehension questions, I would suggest now to create, let's say, create 3 multiple choice questions on this text and generate new questions for them, because the previous questions that you had, it may those questions might contain questions based on some of the words which were used in the more complicated passage, which this passage doesn't have. So just to make sure, just make them a new multiple choice comprehension questions, and you simply set up the assignment exactly as we did before, only this time we, instead of choosing the first 2 students, we're going to choose the other students. And this is how we can use tools like ChatGPT to really differentiate and remove stigmatization. So the next part of this video is I'm going to log in as a student. I'm going to do this exercise and see what the analytics comes up with. You as a teacher see what results you're going to get, and then how you can use that data to make some decisions. So let's get started with that. Okay, so here I am. I'm signed in as a student now. You can see I'm signed in as one of those students, the student number 3. I'm in the team. I'm going to go to assignment, and I can see now I've been issued this assignment, Impact of Volcanoes on Weather. So I'm going to click on this. I can see the title, the instructions I've been given by my teacher, and here is a reading progress assignment. So again, they're going to have a camera and mic for this to work. So I'm just going to click on that. Now, because it's going through Chrome, through the web browser, it's asking for my permission. So I'm going to click on allow. Now, this should open up my second camera. There we go. So that's there. And it says here I've got 2 tries left and 2 minutes to read. So as soon as I click on start, this is going to begin. And once I finish this reading progress, it's going to give me that option. So I'm going to do this exercise now quickly, but I'm going to fast forward it so it doesn't take up too much time of this video. So let's begin. So as soon as I click on start, I'm given my countdown. And now I can see my text. The impact of volcanoes on weather. What happens when a volcano erupts? A lot of people first think of the molten rock or lava that explodes. Months. These tiny ash. Now we can see my time is up. It's cut me off. That's because I had that option selected. If I didn't, then it would allow me to read everything, but it wouldn't count that as part of the analysis, let's say, that the AI is going to do. So if I'm going to do this try again, then I can try this again. Now, during the video, I was doing some mistakes or reading really fast or reading really slow and leaving things out. I'm just going to say use this recording. But if I choose try again, I get another chance, but I don't choose which one I can use. The second one that I try is going to be the one that's going to be used. So I'm going to do use this recording. It's now going to attach my assignment. And now that it's attaching the assignment, what's going to happen is it should present me with my comprehension questions to see whether I've understood what I've read. Obviously not, because I didn't manage to read all of it. So here are my comprehension questions. What is one of the impacts of volcanic eruptions on the atmosphere? Increased oxygen, decreased air pressure, changes in weather temperature, air quality, high humidity. I'm just going to put C. What happens to large ash particles during a volcano? They stay in the atmosphere, they fall out of the atmosphere within a few days. Combined to they cause acid rain. Ooh, I'm going to choose that one. And then, oh, I actually left a word out here. How can volcanic eruptions contribute to global climate change? By releasing oxygen to the atmosphere, by blocking sunlight. I'm going to choose that one. So now that I've answered these questions, I can actually click on submit. And now that the comprehension is finished, I'm now told I got 10 out of 15. That's not bad. That's really cool for me. Okay, so I finished with my comprehension exercises there. I can go and view my results if I want to as a student. But now what I'm going to do is the next step is I'm going to go to reading coach. And that's going to identify the 5 words. So let's have a look and see what it says here. Now, it is actually speaking to me through the headpiece here saying, next step practice, select any word to keep building your skills. So I'm going to choose, so these are the 5 words that I found most difficult. So I'm going to click on think. And it's telling me now when I'm ready to press the microphone and read the word out loud. So I'm going to try this now. I'm going to try and say this wrong. Now, you're going to see that this is not perfect. It is a little bit messy, but anyway, let's give it a go. Think. Oh, there you go. I'm making my brain stronger. Nice work. So I'm going to go to the next word. All right, so let's click on this to start it. Volcano. Nah, that wasn't very good, was it? So if I want to hear what this sounds like, I can actually click on this here and I can actually hear it actually say the word. It actually says the word now. You can't hear this because it's going through my earpiece. But if I click on this now, I can try now. Volcano. Boy, it's actually working pretty good today. All right, let's go to the next word and click on the microphone. Party calls. All right, let's do another one. Particles. Although I said it fast, it picked it up, so that's not bad. All right, let's go to the next one. Temperature. Okay, so yellow basically means I was close. So I'm going to click on this again. Temperature. Okay, have I finished? Oh, I've got one more. So here we go. Some. So I've managed to complete all of those 5 words. It's told me I've completed. I'm just going to close that. I finished as a student. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this in. And that's it. I finished. I've done my assignment. So now it's up to the teacher to go have a look at and see what it is I've actually done. And we can see the results. So let's jump back to the teacher side. Here we go. So I'm just going to go out of assignments, go to post, go back to assignments. And then here it is here. Let's have a look who submitted. So we've got this one here. Student 3 has submitted already. So let's click on that. And now I can see the analytics. Now this is really big. I'm actually going to change the zoom of my screen now because I usually have it big so it's easier for you guys to see on the video. But I'm just going to take that back to 100%. There we go. Okay, so what do we see on this screen? I've got 97 correct words per minute. It's only showing me, can you see here? It's showing me my cutoff point. This was my 2-minute cutoff point. Okay, this is where I stopped. So I only managed to read this in 2 minutes. So my analysis of my data here is based on these 2 minutes here, which I said. And that's because I made that tick, or I selected that 2-minute cutoff when I was setting this assignment up. Now, the different colors basically tell you up here, purple means pronunciation, 20 is insertions, repetitions is gray, omissions is pink, orange is self-corrections, and you can actually listen and hear the video. Say go to that word there, jump to word. The molten rock or lava that explodes or oozes out of a volcano during an eruption. Okay, so I can hear that. And then if I decide this was said wrong, then I can actually click on it and say that was a mispronunciation, and my analytics up here will automatically change. So what else can I see from here? Well, I've got my accuracy correct words per minute, the accuracy rate. I've got this analysis here. I can change the decision. So let's say this was not an insertion, then I can just remove that from there, and I can say that was correct, and that's removed, and then this analysis here will change. So I can go through this one by one. As I said, though, it's up to you whether you want to go through this. I would only do this if this was an assessment. If this was just for practice, for reading practice, then I would just leave it as is. Now I can go to expression. So up here we see expression, and from here we can see the different things. So example, here I was actually, it says I was rushed reading, and here I was extended pause. So I had all these extended pauses here, and then I was reading quickly. Okay, so I've got some rush reading there, and I've got some other rush reading. So let's go to this word here and see what the reading was like. And I'm not sure whether you can hear this. Carbon dioxide and water vapor, the particles and gases can. So you can see, if you can't hear, you probably see from my mouth, I was actually reading really fast there. So you got the expression there. Next to that, we've got comprehension. We can go and actually see what they actually answered in these multiple choice questions or the comprehension. Now, I know they got 10 out of 15 points. Which one didn't they understand? So I've got this automatically. So it's done the accuracy for me. It's done the expression for me. It's done the analysis for me. It's actually checked the comprehension questions. And I have done nothing as an educator. I've just seen this. Now, again, if it's assessment, you can go over that. The next thing that I can do is obviously give some written feedback over here before I submit this back to them. If this assignment had points, I would give points. But I can also now, down here at the bottom, it says see progress of student 3 over time. So if I click on this, I can actually see the student's progress over time. Now, I don't have anything else from this student, so I'm going to jump to a different student so you can see what progress looks like over time in a different assignment. Okay, so here I am in the same training team, but this is a different assignment. This is one from student one. Student one has done quite a few of these. And the one thing I didn't show you in the previous assignment, which I just did, was the practiced words. So we saw that we had accuracy and expression. We don't have comprehension here because I did this, when I did this particular exercise for the student, I didn't add a comprehension to this. But the practice words, you can also see for that assignment, you can see that this student practiced the 5 words, didn't complete all of them. Okay, and because obviously they tried 3 attempts here, they did, and they gave up. They could have tried more. So that's another good one. So you can see that they've actually practiced the words. But what I wanted to show you here now is if at the bottom of your reading progress, when you open the assignment for a student, you can click on see progress of student 1 over time. And here we can see all the words that this student found difficult over all the reading exercises that this student has submitted. We can see the average words per minute is 78 in general. That's 10 less than the class average. We can see that by the -10. The average accuracy rate is 83%. Again, this is 11% lower than the class average. Assignments, they've done 12 and 12 assignments. Now I've actually issued more, but they didn't do all of them. These are the most difficult words from all of those assignments. And I can set a challenge assignment. Just by clicking on this, it will send that to student a challenge assignment with these words for them to practice with Reading Coach. Now, all of this is to do with student 1 because that's what's selected here. Down here, I can see all the exercises this student has done, reading progress exercises, and we can see the reading accuracy, mispronunciations, omissions, insertions in one screen, and we can see them with color codes. And down here, these are the really important ones for me. These are the trend lines. So we can see in the light blue, this is the class average. And in the dark blue, this is the student average. So from here, I can actually see at a glance, this student is either on the average with the class average words per minute, but usually below. So probably I want to be reducing the reading level for the student or giving them more reading exercises to do. We can see the same kind of trend lines on accuracy rate. Again, we can see the student is on the class average or just slightly below. And what else we can see here? Remember when we did, we can see the expression. So if we go to expression, we can see different things on expression as well on the different exercises that they have done. But what else we can see here, if I go back to that one there, we can actually filter based on the genre here. So this was, let's say, fiction. So this is only the ones which are on reading exercises to do with fiction. Let me take that back to none on the filter there. Actually remove all those filters. And then these are the levels. Now, remember we said if we actually assign levels, I can go and see how this student did with exercises which were reading level 5 only. So I've only given 2 of them, and we can see here for reading level 5, there's been an improvement from the first one to the second one. So that's really good. And this is just by looking at these trend lines, and that's fantastic. Again, the accuracy rate has improved on these 2 level 5s. If I want to change that and go to level 7, let's say, again, I'm here, I'm actually above the class on the accuracy rate, and on level 7, again, no, below on the average words per minute. Okay, so a lot of data that we can see, and then you can actually do multiple selections and this, that, the other. Now, if I want to see a different student, I don't need to go anywhere else. I can simply click up here, remove the student, and when I click in this area, I can choose to see the statistics of any student. So let's say student 3. These filters haven't been put in yet, although because I've only just done one exercise with them yet. Let's see if I've got anything on student 4. Nope, I don't. So if I want to see all of the whole class average, then I can just leave that blank. I'm hoping. Nope. Okay, so I think these filters need to be reset. But there's also an issue with the old version and the new version of Teams. So I'm just going to switch over to the old version of Teams. You probably won't have this issue by the time you watch this video. Hopefully all the bugs in the new version of Teams would have been resolved. But just in case you do, so here you go. That's just opened up now. So I'm just going to go to my team. So this is, again, a different one that they submitted. I just want to see the analytics that we've got on this. This was actually in Greek. You can see it actually works for Greek as well. I'm going to go to the progress over time for this student again. And then I'm going to see whether I can actually see. There you go. So now with the older version of Teams, you can actually see the average words per minute and everything. This is not on a particular student, but this is only for the class average. This one, you only get one trend line. So by removing the students from here, you see the class performance. Okay, so final steps before we close this video. Let's have a look at the assignment again one more time. The one that I just executed as a student. So it's this one here, impact of volcanoes on weather. I'm just going to open this again so we can have a quick look at the practice words. So here we go. And the practice words here, if you remember, I actually got the first one, the last one right on the first time. On this second one here, I actually clicked on the little speaker so it would actually sound the word for me so I can hear what it sounds like, and then I practiced it. So as a teacher, I can see that the student got some help here. And then finally, what we can do is once we've done everything, we've had a look at this, we've written our feedback, we want to return this work back to the student. Now, we can return this whole report if we like, and that's usually the default. But if we have a look here, return customized report to student. If I go to edit, I've got 3 choices. So I can either return the full report to the student, which is basically all of this, the mispronunciations, repetitions, omissions, self-corrections, insertions, the accuracy, correct words per minute, the whole thing. Or I can modify it and streamline it and just give back the student's video and the marked passage, so they will not get the analytics up here. Or finally, I can modify what I want to return to the student. And I really do like this feature in Reading Progress, because as educators, we want to decide what we want to give back to the students. We don't want to discourage students, so we want to try and give them feedback which is going to be productive and it's going to encourage them to do better. So if I click on Customize Report, then I can choose whether I want the number of attempts there, the reading level, the word count, the reading coach results, the omissions, all of this. I choose what I want to return back to the student. So I'm just going to leave this here as it is. So I'm going to return everything. I'm just going to click on Save there. And now I'm going to return this to the student. Now, saying this, once I return this, I can, if I like, return this for revision. So if I select this, I can now return this, return for revision. And basically what this will do, it's going to return it to the student. They have a look at it and they will have to practice those words again, the words from Reading Coach. And once they've said, you know, I've practiced these, this, that, the other, and they're happy with the results, they've got them all correct, they just return it. So when you return this for revision, it's not going to ask them to read the passage again. It's only going to ask them to practice those Reading Coach words again, and then they can return it again. Okay, that's about everything. There really isn't anything else. I think Reading Coach is a fantastic tool. One of the best learning accelerators I've seen from Microsoft. And again, remember when we use AI tools like OpenAI, ChatGPT, or we use Magic School or any other text-based AI tool, and we work both of these things together with Reading Progress, it's really, really easy to set up. We can differentiate easily. It's non-stigmatizing to the students. So all the students read the same, let's say, content, but different ability levels instead of different passages. We can generate the questions for comprehension so much much easier. And we can see all these trend lines, which are going to help us make these decisions. Now, finally, the last thing I'm going to show you is if you want to have a look at the general or the analytics, instead of opening the assignment and choosing the student, we can go directly to insights from our team. So if we go to our team, at the top, we see insights right up here. When we click on that, we can click on reading, and this is going to show you the insights on reading progress. So this is another way to actually access all of this data. So as soon as I open this up, it opens this up for the class. So this is all the words for the class found difficult, as we saw before, or the reading progress assignments, and then the trend lines for the class. And then I can click up here and choose a particular student. So if I choose student 1, I can see students 1 progress over time. We've seen this already. As I said, we can access it directly from the assignment before we return it, but we can also access it directly from Insight. So exactly the same information. This student has done 12, which is like 10 more than the class average. And then you've got your filters again, your reading levels, just like before. So this is really, really cool. So Insights is a place to go to just get quick analytical data so we can make decisions on what we're going to give our students next. That's it, guys. Now, if you like this video, you enjoyed the content, you found something interesting, and especially if you do end up using Reading Progress because of this video, I would love to hear from you. So leave a comment, but most importantly, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.